Okay, so if you're leading a nonprofit, you know this feeling. Your mission is picking up steam, demand is through the roof, and your team is just stretched to the absolute limit. You're at a crossroads, and a really important one. The choice you make right now about how to grow is going to shape your future. So today, we're going to give you a really clear framework to make that choice with intention, not out of panic.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll name the problem, that exact challenge you're up against. Then we'll look at the 3 basic ways you can grow before we dive into a super powerful decision-making framework. We'll also cover the common traps to look out for, so you can make a choice that's truly strategic for your organization.
All right, let's start at what I call the capacity crossroads. This is that moment, right? That high-stakes moment where the need for what you do has officially outrun your team's ability to do it. It's a huge turning point. And honestly, the decisions you make right here are going to ripple through your organization's culture, its finances, and its impact for years.
Does that sound familiar? I mean, come on, it's the default thought, the knee-jerk reaction for so many of us. And look, it's totally understandable. But when you make a decision from a place of just trying to stay afloat, you often end up with this messy, unsustainable situation instead of the smart, strategic growth your mission really deserves.
Okay, so to get out of that reactive mode, we first need to get really clear on what our options even are. When it comes down to it, there are really only 3 fundamental paths to build your capacity. You can hire internal staff, you can bring on contractors, or you can form strategic partnerships. That's it.
Now, what's so interesting here is the clear trade-off you're making. With your own staff, right, you get more control. You're building your culture, and that institutional knowledge stays with you. But you're taking on some pretty significant fixed costs. On the other hand, with contractors, you get amazing flexibility and specialized skills without all the overhead. The downside? The hourly cost is higher, and when they leave, all that knowledge walks right out the door with them.
And speaking of costs, you need to burn this number into your brain. The real cost of an employee is never, ever just their salary. Once you start adding in benefits, taxes, office space, all that overhead, you're actually looking at 1.3 to 1.5 times what's on their offer letter. So that $50,000 hire, that's really a $75,000 commitment every year. That kind of changes the math, doesn't it?
So this brings us to that third path, the one that is so often overlooked but can be an absolute game changer: partnership. This isn't just hiring or contracting. This is about teaming up with another organization to share costs, to get access to their expertise, and to really align your missions. It's a way to grow your impact without having to carry that whole burden by yourself.
So how do you actually choose between these? Well, let's get systematic about it. We're going to use a framework of 7 key questions to guide you to the right choice for your specific situation.
First and foremost, you have to ask this: is this work absolutely central to why you exist? You know, if you're an education nonprofit, teaching is core. You should probably keep that in-house. But if it's a peripheral function, something like IT support or bookkeeping, well, that's a perfect candidate for contracting out or finding a partner.
Okay, next up, think about the rhythm of the work. Is this something you need done steadily all year long? That's a huge sign pointing toward a full-time hire. Or does the work come in waves? You know, like a really intense grant writing season for 3 months. That kind of project-based work is practically designed for a contractor.
All right, time for some real talk. You have to be brutally honest with yourself here. A new person needs onboarding, training, feedback, professional development. Do you and your team really have the bandwidth for that? Because let me tell you, hiring someone before you have the management systems in place is a classic recipe for failure.
Remember, a new hire is not a short-term fix. It's a multi-year commitment. So before you even think about posting a job description, you have to look at your funding and be really confident that you can cover the true cost of this position for at least 3 years, sustainably.
Now think about the actual skills you need. Is it something super specialized, like needing a chief financial officer but you're a pretty small organization? Hiring that role full-time could be total overkill. This is where contracting is brilliant. It lets you tap into that top-tier expertise exactly when you need it without the full-time price tag.
Think about the long game for a second. Is it important that the learnings, the relationships, the history from this role build up inside your organization over time? If that institutional knowledge is really crucial for your future success, that is a very strong argument for an internal team member.
And finally, you've got to look outside your own 4 walls. Before you spend a ton of time and money trying to reinvent the wheel, just ask, is there another organization out there that already does this thing and does it better than we ever could? Partnering with them means you get to leverage their mastery instead of starting from zero. Remember this: Avoid duplicating excellence.
So this decision tree puts it all together in a really practical way. You can just follow it step by step. And notice that very first question. Is this work even essential? Seriously, if the answer is no, just eliminate it. Don't add capacity for something that's not essential. From there, you just move through the questions we've discussed about mission, consistency, and your own capacity to find your best path.
Okay, so now you have the framework. But knowing the right path is only half the battle, right? Now we need to talk about the common traps, the landmines that can derail even the most well-thought-out plans. This part just requires discipline. You should never, ever hire a person to solve a broken process. You have to fix the process first. Don't create a permanent job based on a 2-year grant. And always, always ask, could we partner on this? It might be a much smaller solution. And finally, please don't forget the time cost. A new hire will easily take up 10 to 15 hours of a manager's time every single week. You have to plan for that.
And that brings us to our final and honestly our most important step. This is all about how to finally move past that reactive or drowning feeling and make a truly proactive, strategic choice as a leadership team.
So here it is, the big takeaway. Your goal isn't just to hire or not hire. Your goal is to build a resilient, sustainable capacity portfolio. The smartest organizations use all 3 of these tools. It's a mix. They hire for their absolute core functions, they partner to gain new strengths, and they bring in contractors for specific, time-bound projects. It's strategic.
So I'm going to leave you with this call to action. Take this framework back to your team. I want you to pick one pressure point, one role you're thinking about, or one project you're struggling with right now, and just run it through these questions together. Making that one intentional choice, that's the first step toward building a stronger, more sustainable organization for the future.